Live by Live has all of your favorite music, and you can listen for free. Whether you hit play on one of our hundreds of curated music stations or create your own custom artist radio station, you'll find the music you love on Live by Live. Visit livexlive.com or search LiveX Live in the App Store or Google Play and listen for free now.
Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Hi, this is Kelly.
And this is Jenna.
And you're listening to ODFM.
Today's episode is One Devotion for Murder.
Here we are.
Ooh, this is Season 6, Episode 13, our very first live show, and we're using the Fireside Chat app. It's Episode 13 that we are recording right now on February 13th. Figured it was kind of...
And there's supposedly some game going on or something today.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. There's like yelling and stuff, and I don't know what's happening. So yeah, there's some game going on. But those of us who have no idea what the game is, like me, right? I was like, oh, it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we'd rather talk about murder. Way more fun.
Murder's so much more interesting.
Yes. So, since this is our pre-Valentine's Galentine Valencrime show.
Ooh, Valencrime.
Valencrime. I know, right? I stole that from somebody else, so. Gotta give credit. We're each doing a story this time. Mm-hmm. So it's double the story, double the fun. And, let's just get started, right?
Let's do this.
These are, I believe, well, I know at least for mine, this is a story of a devoted couple and how it didn't go down so well.
They didn't feel so devoted after a bit?
There was a lot less devotion as time went on. So, okay, I am going to take you back to February 14th, 2007, Valentine's Day 2007.
Wow, okay. I was pregnant and in the hospital almost.
Oh my gosh.
That's
wow.
when Gavin was born. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I believe it was right before I started the job I'm at now, because I think I started in the summer of 2007. So I was still desperately looking for a different job. As usual. Desperately seeking gainful employment. Right. So this, however, is in Washington Township, Michigan.
Ooh.
37-year-old Stephen Grant called the Macomb County Sheriff's Office to report that his wife, 34-year-old Tara Lynn Grant, had been missing for 5 days.
And he's just now calling?
And he's just calling now. He's already right. He's already kicked back for a couple of days, watched a lot of football, had some beer, and then went, And then
he got hungry. And he
got hungry, right. And then he realized, God, nothing's been cleaned in a while. Is she not here? Is she not here?
Have you been around?
I thought it was quiet. No. Stephen told police that on Friday night, February 9th, Tara returned home from a business trip as expected. But they got into an argument because she was going to fly back a day early. So she was supposed to be home for the weekend and she was going to fly back a day early. And I guess that didn't go over well.
That's not good.
So they got into an argument that it was a fighting about her traveling for work was an issue in their relationship, in their marriage. This was a thing. It was an ongoing thing.
Great.
And so they started fighting about it again. Stephen was also upset because once again, she would be flying back with her boss, a gentleman, and he had suspicions.
Hot dude. Oh.
So he was just like, you're always flying with him, but if he's her boss, she kind of has to. But, anyway, I don't know. I haven't seen a picture of this guy, so I don't know.
Oh, no.
So, according to Stephen, as the fight continued, Tara unpacked her bag, but then repacked another bag and said something like, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. So apparently this fight really, she'd had it, right? And he heard her make a phone call to someone to pick her up. And he said he heard her say something like, I'll be out in a minute and I'll meet you at the end of the driveway. And according to him, she walked out the door at 11:15 p.m. that Friday night and got into a dark colored sedan. So he watched her leave and that was it.
He's just like, all right, maybe we're finally done. He's happy.
Yeah, right?
That's
so he admitted to authorities that he probably should have called them sooner. In hindsight, I may have waited too long, you know.
Yeah, but then I guess he figured she left him and...
Right, that she was she left in anger, right? Mm-hmm. He said, I really expected her to either come home or call. Like, she left angry, you know.
Yeah, normally she would call. Okay.
Right. But apparently he had checked in with her boss and her mother and realized that neither of them had talked to her either.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, big.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Police reach out to Tara's friends and coworkers and family. You know, they start calling around. And at the same time, they send 2 detectives to the Grant home to ask further questions, right? The Grants lived in a nice suburban neighborhood with their 2 children, a 7-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy, and their 19-year-old live-in au pair, Verena Durkis from Germany. You know, as most couples with 2 kids have.
So are they doing pretty well? What?
I'm just like, everybody has an au pair for their 2 kids, right?
Yeah. Nannies everywhere.
Tara Grant was the breadwinner. She was a successful executive. She had worked her way up at a company called Washington Group International. And she currently worked out of their Puerto Rico office. That was her home base office. So she got to live in Puerto Rico during the week. And then she flew home on the weekends.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. I'm down.
And then, so she financially supported their family, and Stephen was a stay-at-home dad, and he prided himself on being Mr. Mom. He's got this, although I don't know how much he's got this if they have to have an au pair, but that's just me.
And
he didn't work
in Puerto Rico with her instead. Like,
right? That also could have been an option, right? That could have been I mean,
he's stay at home. I figured they
no, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have a job to stay here for. So his dad owns a machine shop, like a tool and die shop.
Okay.
And so occasionally he works at his father's shop, but it's not like
a full-time job or anything.
Yeah. Whereas taking care of his kids is, but he's got an au pair for that. So
he's got an au pair. All right.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know if he's seen Mr. Mom because there was no au pair in that movie.
Yeah, maybe he's just part-time Mr. Mom. Like when he wants to be.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. He's got
but he did like telling people that he was Mr. Mom, you know.
Oh.
And giving off the impression that my wife is like this total badass in the business industry, and you know, she's awesome and I stay home and it's great, but it wasn't really how it was. So anyway, apparently they had also had several au pairs in the recent years.
Is that because of personality conflicts or?
Yeah, they didn't really specify. So we're just going to let that go for now. So,
for now.
All right. So the detectives go to the Grant house, right? Detective Pamela McLean, she talks to Verena, who says that the previous Friday night when Tara had come home and left, Verena had gone out for the night. So she's been there long enough that she's got her own friends and, you know, she went to go do her thing. And so she said when she returned home that night, Stephen seemed upset and actually had yelled, "What are you doing here?" as she got there. And then she realized that he thought that she was Tara coming back.
Oh, I was going to say.
And he was like, "What are you doing here?" And she was like,
"Burying a body.
I live here. I don't know. I thought I was supposed to." You know. Right. So he went on and, you know, told Verena about the big fight that they had and how she left and said she was never coming back, which I don't know. Usually a mother with a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old doesn't
with a kid.
do that, right? Meanwhile, the other detective was in the other room with Stephen going on the family computer to look over the Grant's bank accounts to see if any money had recently been taken out, but there were no recent withdrawals. So like if she had decided to fly back to Puerto Rico early, she probably would have had to take out some cash. If she was staying at a hotel, she probably would have taken out some cash, you know. So they didn't see anything. Okay, so detectives ask Stephen if he'll come into the station the next day and take a polygraph test. And he's totally offended.
Oh.
He's like, what? And they're like, well, we just, it's right. We got to cover all our bases. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Except the next morning they get a call from Stephen's attorney notifying them that he will not be coming in for a polygraph exam and that any further communication should go through the attorney. So all he's done is report his wife missing.
And he's already like, oh.
And he's already like, I'm not talking to police.
Dude, you're not setting yourself up to be looking
red flag. This is my imaginary red flag. Stephen stopped cooperating with the investigation at that point. It was like, that's it. They talked to him the one time, that one night, he reported it. He didn't check in to see if there was any information on Tara, where she was, if she'd been found, if there was anything else he could do to help. It was just like, hey, I reported her. You guys go with it now. It was not suspect at all.
No.
Detectives find that Tara had a company-issued credit card, but the last time it was used, it was to pay the toll that she took on the way home from the airport that night. So the last time her credit card had been used was to get to the house.
So how would she be getting anywhere or doing anything?
Mm-hmm. And it had not been touched since that night.
Oh, no.
As far as her cell phone, there had been no calls made after Friday, February 9th. But she had several voicemails from that evening. And they were all from Stephen. Some were him calling to say, look, I know you're pissed at me, but can you please call and talk to the kids? And then there was another one where he's angry. Yeah. There was another one where he's like, why are you doing this? How can you do this to our kids? Like, so he went from like angry to like sad to like talk to me. Yeah. But they were all calls from him and no outgoing calls from her at all.
Yeah. Weird.
Mm-hmm. And nothing to show that she had called and checked her voicemail.
Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think she's dead.
Mm-hmm. Detectives tried to look into the dark sedan, but they could find no limo services, taxi services, rentals. No one had sent a car to the Grant's house on the 9th or the days before or after. It's like, okay, what car did she get into?
Pretty impressive. They're looking into it this much with it.
They're really
being a missing person.
Mm-hmm. Stephen told them that he heard her call someone to pick her up, right? But they looked, and like they said, there were no calls, no outgoing calls on her cell phone from that night. And so they checked the records from the house phone. Also, no calls had gone out that night.
Whoa.
So no phone call had been made.
Yeah. Lying.
Liar. Police even looked to see if Tara had checked into any nearby hotels near the airport. That was a dead end. Let's see. So, Stephen had told detectives that the argument was based on the fact that she came home on Friday and said she was returning on Sunday, even though typically she wouldn't return until Monday. And they called the airline, and the airline confirmed that she had not changed her flight to leave earlier, and she had not boarded her regular Monday flight. So she is just gone.
She's vanished.
Off the, So she wasn't in Puerto Rico. Police began holding press conferences to ask the public for help finding her because they were like, she's gone. She's just disappeared.
And her husband doesn't care to try to find her. So
right?
We need your help.
So they started getting all kinds of fun calls from people saying that they saw her here, they saw her there. One person swore that they saw her as a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune. Right?
That's
Isn't that the girl they're looking for right there? Yeah.
Of course she is.
It was not her. They did check. They had to check and no.
Dang it.
But police weren't the only ones holding press conferences. Stephen started holding press conferences with his lawyer.
Oh.
I don't really know.
Oh.
Does this sound a lot like Drew Peterson, where he started like right?
Oh,
I don't know. She disappeared and she left me. I don't know what happened to her. During these press conferences, he would cry and beg for her to take him back. Please come home. Somebody please call and tell me if you've seen my wife. I don't know what happened to her. Then he started going on interviews and stuff saying that she was totally consumed by her career. She was totally career driven. She didn't care about her family, didn't care about her kids.
Yeah.
You know, that's not her priority. So now he's like, no, I'm Mr. Mom. She lives in Puerto Rico during the week.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. It just,
Yeah.
and
amazing.
Right. And I did see, there was a show that I watched on this case, and they were like, no, like she was really involved from far away. She was constantly calling. She left them notes and cards and stuff, like at the beginning of the week for them to open through the week. Like she planned it out for them, so she did her best to be there. I mean, yeah. So he's just full of crap.
Aww.
So the media, however, just totally ran with it. If he was willing to talk. So the media, published any interview he wanted to do, they published his stuff all the time. The public was torn. Half the people in the public were like, yeah, she's totally selfish. And she left her husband and kids. They had a fight and she was like, it's my career. And she took off. And then there are others who believed that maybe she had left because they got into an argument, but then she met with foul play.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But yeah, she would do anything to get in contact with her kids. But I guess
right?
That would be a possibility that she could have gotten hurt by someone else. I don't know.
February 21st, 2007. This is a week later. This is a week after Valentine's Day when he's reported her missing. One of Stephen's former girlfriends tells a newspaper about emails she had received from Stephen shortly before Tara had gone missing. The emails had a lot of flirting and sexual innuendos. And in it, he mentions that he thinks his wife is having an affair and that he doesn't really think that marriage or the sanctity of marriage is that important. Feeling out I'm not really tied to my wife. How are you doing? It's
feeling? How are you doing? Yeah.
That didn't go over well in the public. I'll tell you that. And then detectives had asked, the Grant's au pair, Verena, if she was involved in any kind of sexual relationship with Stephen. And she said no. Okay. But shortly after that, the company that she worked for suddenly sent her back to Germany.
Oh, that's against the contract. You're not supposed to get with the dudes.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, so the mom's gone, and then we have Mr. Mom, right? And so I don't know who's taking care of these poor kids, but they sent their au pair back. So, right?
So Mr. Mom is out doing press conferenons and partying it up.
Right. Who's watching the kids while he's doing all these press conferences?
Right. So detective, or is he just thinking he is?
No, he was fairly good looking. He was good looking. She was good looking. They looked like the nice all-American couple.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Chris Watts situation.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. Only a little more 2000s looking, So, Stephen and his attorney even tell the media that they believe that the police had Verena sent home.
Whoa, the police? What?
Right. Which the police were like, we didn't send her home. In fact, we wanted her here. We wanted to ask her more questions and stuff like that. We didn't send her home. Why would you say that? That was... they were also like, we have absolutely no evidence whatsoever, but this guy is totally squirrely. They had total bad vibes from the beginning, but they had nothing. She had just vanished, right? So police decided to do a thorough search of nearby Stony Creek Metro Park. Stephen had mentioned it several times to both the police and in his media interviews.
Oh, yes.
That
his acting.
Right, exactly. It was a large park with a wooded area and stuff, but a big park, not a little, it just had some swings, a big park.
Central Park or something.
Right. Okay. And they spent a lot of time there as a family. He took the kids there a lot. It's somewhere that they went a lot, right? And they were they were seriously we have nothing. We have to come up with something. So they decided they were going to do this big search, right? They went and they did a press conference saying, later today, we're going to go search this park. And right after that, Stephen called them and asked, can I be there? Can I help? And they're like,
this is the first time he has any interest in this, huh?
Uh-huh. Right. Okay. And they're like, no, we got this. In fact, it wasn't even hey, we're asking the public to come out. It was strictly law enforcement people who did the search. They didn't let bystanders in or anything. It was just, so it was okay.
Pretty suspect.
Right. So they didn't let him help, but they also didn't find anything. So okay. So they reach out to the public again and are like, if you see anything suspicious at all, even if you don't know what it could possibly be, please, like, we need your help finding her. So February 28th, 2007. So Tara's been missing for about 3 weeks. And there is a woman out on a walk near, she's walking near the area of Stony Creek Metro Park.
Oh, shit. I have a feeling I know what's going to happen.
She's near the park, and she's near, she's near the park, and it's in between where, like, the Grant's house is and where the park is. So it's not like she's, like, on the other side or anything like that, right? So she's walking, and she spots a clear plastic bag containing what looks like latex gloves and blood.
Oh, yikes.
Right. So she immediately calls police and is like, I think I found the suspicious thing you're talking about. I think I got one.
Something.
So an evidence technician does a field test right there, confirms that the bag does contain blood, right? Before they go any further. Because it could be from anywhere, right?
Yeah, so like someone picking up dog crap on this.
Right. So, I'm sorry, my dog has an issue. We're taking her to the vet.
Immediately. Okay.
So, and it could be latex. I mean, my husband will not touch dog poop without latex gloves on. Like, he will not.
I mean, I
don't do it barehanded, but like, I'm just like, you just use the bag.
I would have serious questions if you did it barehanded. Jen, I don't know. Are you testing this?
Oh, God.
What have you been eating?
Oh, my God. Oh, geez. Okay. So they do a field test. They confirm that it is blood. So, but the little field test, it doesn't tell them if it's from like a human or an animal. It's just, yep, it's blood. Oh, so they're like, okay, great. Okay. So they gather everything up and send it to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab. They're like,
So it could be a dog.
It could be anything, right? It could be absolutely anything, issues. Right? Okay. And the crime lab comes back only a day later and says, yep, it is human blood. And there's also microscopic metal shavings.
Oh.
Weird, right?
Like a knife, or she was cut up with something. Oh, my mind goes everywhere.
The good news is the discovery of the bag near the home is enough for probable cause for police to get a search warrant for the Grant's house.
Ooh, good.
Finally.
Finally.
And because of the metal shavings, they are also able to get one for Stephen's father's machine shop, too. Right?
Oh, I forgot about the machine shop.
The machine shop.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
5 p.m.
All right.
This is 5 p.m., Friday, March 2nd. So last time she was seen or heard from was the 7th of February. So it hasn't even been a month, right?
Wow.
March 2nd, Police arrived to execute the search warrant. Stephen Grant had been under surveillance. It was stopped a few blocks away. He wasn't home. They wanted to make sure they got there before he got home. Yes. So they actually, so they actually pulled him over and was like, yeah, we're about to search your house. We're going to escort you home.
Yeah, sit you on the side. When you get
right?
Ooh, yay.
Uh-huh. So while the crime lab is searching the home, Stephen, who was not under arrest, after about, a little while, he's like, I'm going to go walk the dog. And they can't stop him because he's not under arrest. So they're like, okay. So he goes outside towards his SUV where an officer tells him, well, the SUV is part of the search warrant, so you can't go in there. And he's like, well, I'm not going to take it anywhere. I got to get my wallet, my ID. And they're like, sorry, you can't.
It's all part of the.
Uh-huh. So he's totally denied any access to his car. He's pissed and he walks off without the dog.
Wait. You forgot something.
Thought he was walking the dog. Oh, this is where it gets good, girl. Just a few minutes after that, in the garage, one of the detectives that had been there the night that they took the statements from him and the au pair, he's in the garage and he's like, I don't remember that large plastic storage bin, like one of those big Rubbermaid, tote things, right?
Mm-hmm. Perfect size for a body.
He's like, I don't recognize that. No. So he walks over and he lifts up the lid and he finds black garbage bags. And they describe how he kind of like pokes around at them and they kind of give. And he's like, this is weird. So he calls over one of the evidence techs and the tech cuts open the black garbage bag and inside is a clear garbage bag that looks a lot like the kind that was found by the park. Mm-hmm. And they can see into the bag that there are larger metal shavings in the bag. And so they're like, okay, so they cut open the clear plastic bag and then they find a torso. So no arms, no legs, no head, but a female torso still fully clothed. I'm not sure what was keeping the clothes on, to be honest with you. That troubled me more than anything. I was like, well, how are they how is her pants staying on if there's no, I don't know.
Oh, anyway. Maybe it was a dress.
No, it wasn't a dress, because they said the clothing matched the description of what he said Tara was wearing the night she disappeared. And it was like business dress pants and a top. But I don't know, how do they stay on? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But it's just the torso.
Just the body. Just
right.
Yeah.
And as they realize, oh my God, this is her torso, they go, oh my God, Stephen Grant walked off an hour ago. Just walked down the street.
Did they not have anyone follow him? I figured they'd have somebody follow him.
I guess not.
Shit.
I guess they figured he was going to come back for the dog at some point. I don't know.
If he's in a public area, they can follow him.
Well, they did. They did go look for him, but by this point, that was it.
He had an hour.
He had an hour. So a statewide bulletin goes out, right? Crime scene technicians were also processing evidence found at the machine shop. It did say that it was really hard because it was a machine shop. Like, everything was really dirty and disorganized. And it was like, where do we even start? But they did find metal shavings that were consistent with those found in the plastic bags.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're like, oh, well, these look the same. Based on this, I know. Based on this evidence, police conduct a second search of Stony Creek Metro Park. They're like, maybe we should go back just to be sure. This time they brought cadaver dogs.
Good.
We should have brought them the first time, but whatever.
Yeah.
And what they found was a raccoon gnawing on a human leg.
Oh God! I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense, though. They'll eat anything.
Right. So they're like, oh, that's weird. So
there's just a leg out here.
But that was actually helpful because they were able to use that leg to get the cadaver dogs the scent, and then dogs left them right to the area where the rest of the appendages had been left, right?
Okay.
So they were able to recover her head and several of her extremities, but not all.
Ooh. Okay.
So I don't know if they were hidden in a different spot or if the raccoons had already gotten to it. I don't know. Okay. The medical examiner determines the cause of death to be manual strangulation. So it's really good that they found her head, because I don't know that they would have been able to figure that out.
They must have found the head.
Right, yeah. Yikes. And they also realized that several types of serrated blades had been used to dismember her.
Like they kept breaking, maybe? The blades are wearing out?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
You'd think someone who worked in a tool shop would know better.
Have a lot of sharp tools.
I mean, yeah, but I guess he was like, well, that one didn't work. Nope, this one didn't work. I don't know.
Oh,
God. Okay, so early the next morning, police hold a press conference stating that Stephen Grant is the main suspect in the murder of his wife.
Wow, good.
Stephen's attorney sees the press conference, is like, oh, shit, and calls police. And is like...
They hadn't gotten a hold of him yet. Oh, my God.
So he's like, crap. It's kind of like the last story I did. It's the last story when he was like, oh, man, my client's a serial killer. Would you stop going to the media? Like, just shut up.
Would you stop having those press conferences?
Right. People don't realize some of the shit these lawyers have to go through. They just don't know.
I know. Yeah, we always think of them as the bad ones, and then
right.
Like no wonder they get salty.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So the attorney calls the police and says, I got a bunch of calls from Stephen last night, and I'm certain that he's going to hurt himself.
Oh God! Right. Great. Okay.
So they also find out that Stephen had called his sister, and she believed that he was headed north to Wilderness State Park.
Oh no!
So they're like, okay, so they're heading up there. And then they also get a call from Verena Durkis, the German au pair, she calls from Germany to say that Stephen called her as well.
That's weird.
She says that Stephen called to confess his love for her.
Oh, no.
Admitted to her that he had killed his wife, but it had been an accident, and that it was really unfortunate because now he and Verena could not be together.
That's too bad because I really would be attracted to a killer.
Right, exactly. Oh, you did that for me. That's so sweet. That's so nice. So nice. Clyde, stop meowing at the door. I'm recording. Police also hear that Stephen borrowed a friend's yellow truck. So if you're going to borrow a truck, don't borrow a yellow one. It's real easy to find.
Neon, yellow.
Right, right.
Ones that, yeah.
So they had a yellow truck and they also knew the plates. So, right? Mm-hmm. So later that same day, that evening, the truck is located abandoned at the edge of a wooded area of Wilderness State Park. So like, all right, we're on it.
Oh God, so he's in there somewhere.
So this is Michigan in end of February. It's frigid out, right? Yeah. But they searched throughout the night for Stephen. They followed footprints in the snow. It was cold. It was snowy. They followed him.
Wow.
At 6:30 a.m. on Monday, March 4th, Stephen Grant is found hiding under a fallen tree, wearing only a shirt, pants, and socks. He had no jacket, no gloves, nothing to keep him warm. He'd been out all night. He was taken by helicopter to be treated for frostbite and hypothermia. Yeah, he was, 2 days later, the detectives decide to visit him in the hospital. He's in police custody. He's still at the hospital, though. And according to Detective Pamela McLean, she was one of the ones who had gone to their house the first night. He was like, you guys ready to hear my story? And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
We've been ready.
So they pulled out a recorder and they went, all right, let's hear it. And she reported that he just talked like he was telling a story. There was no emotion. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't upset. It was just matter of fact. And this
disconnected
is the story that he tells. Stephen says that on the night of February 9th, he's getting ready for bed when Tara told him, is it Tara or Tara? I keep saying it different ways because I don't know.
It could be either. Yeah.
It could be either.
Maybe we should just mix it up and be Tara.
There you go. Yeah. This way, half the time I'll be right. So she said, I'm flying back to Puerto Rico a day early with my boss. This starts a heated argument. That part was all true, which became physical when he grabbed her by the wrist because she was packing and not paying attention to him. So he grabbed her by the wrist. She slaps him. Now he's enraged and punches her in the head. And she goes back and hits her head really hard on the wall and then falls to the floor.
But that wouldn't kill her.
No. So she's laying there on the ground saying things like, oh, you're done. You're never going to see your kids again. I'm divorced. Like, that's it. You've hit me. Like, that's it. Yeah. I'm out. I'm done.
Totally.
Well, he panics, climbs on top of her, and starts choking her.
But killing her is even worse, dude, because then you're going to be in jail forever.
Exactly.
Okay.
I guess as he's doing that, Tara grabbed at his hands around her neck. And he tells police, again, just total deadpan.
Just let it out.
Right, just let it out. That at that moment, he knew it was too late and he was going to go to jail. So he didn't stop. He figured, well, I've gone this far now. Right.
Oh gosh.
But he couldn't stand that she was looking up at him. So he grabbed a piece of gray fabric on the floor. He said it was probably a t-shirt or maybe underwear or whatever, and pulled it over her face while he finished strangling her to death.
Wow. He sounds like a good guy. So he was feeling guilty, but not guilty enough to stop.
To stop, right? Oh, I also need to note here that when police they were asking, she's like, so where was she? Where were you? They're trying to ask questions about the scene. And they're like, and what were you wearing? And he's like, well, I wasn't wearing anything. And they're like, so like just underwear? And he's like, no, I was naked. That's how I sleep. So he had been getting changed for bed. So this whole time, he's naked, hanging over her. It paints a really extra gross picture.
She's like, that's not the last thing I wanted to see when I died.
Right? Okay. So while this is happening, the au pair is out for the night. The two kids are just down the hall sleeping.
God dang it. Yes, of course they are. Mm-hmm.
So, this part bothers me a lot too. So, he took a belt.
Oh, no.
And wrapped it around her neck and used that to pull her down the stairs to the garage.
Oh, my God.
This was his wife and the mother of his kids. Granted, he did just kill it, but it was already like he was like a switch had flipped, right? And he didn't even carry her down. He pulled her.
He wanted to treat her like an object instead of a human being kind of thing. Ooh.
So he takes her down to the garage and he puts her in the trunk of the car. And then he hears Verena arriving home. And is like, shit. He's like, what are you doing here? Right. Also, he's still naked. So he runs in the house and runs up the stairs to throw some clothes on. And then, and he's still like freaking out. So he comes down and he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I live here too, And that's when he's like, oh. And he comes up with the story about, sorry, I thought you were Tara. She came home or she left all angry and I thought she wasn't coming back and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
He tells detectives that he had been having a sexual relationship with Verena. And that they even had sex that night. So why was he so
worried at her singing naked?
Well, I don't know. Maybe what if she came in with a friend? I don't know. But
true. Yeah.
So his wife is dead in the car. His kids are sleeping and he has sex with the au pair.
What a guy.
Yeah, this guy is a total...
I've had theories about men named Steve for a long time. Yeah.
I hope we don't have a lot of Steve listeners. Sorry.
Sorry, Steves. But
sorry, Steves.
There tends to be patterns I've noticed.
I thought it was guys with last name Peterson. that's my
Steve and Peterson. It's like
Steve Peterson. Oh God, is there a Steve Peterson out there? I don't know, man. That'd be bad.
There is.
Oh God. Okay. He continues to tell police that the next day is Saturday, and he leaves Tara in the car all day in the garage while he's trying to figure out what he's going to do. Yeah, it was cold, so that was good. But they're just, it's just a Saturday. He's at home with the au pair and the two kids, and she's in the
kids.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on Sunday, he takes her to his father's machine shop and uses multiple saw blades to dismember her body.
No.
He also shreds her computer and her cell phone, which is where all those male shavings came from.
Oh, okay.
So, but there was a whole
information on the cloud and stuff. I don't know.
No, 2007. I don't know if there was how much cloud. I don't know.
True. There was less clouds then.
There was less clouds. She might have had her phone back up to her computer, but her computer also got destroyed.
That could be too.
So I'm still trying. I'm still trying in my head to picture using a saw on a laptop, like I can't, or a phone. Anyway, but that's why he destroyed so many metal blades as well, because you're not supposed to use those for that. So he shreds all that. Then he drives to Stony Creek Metro Park and disposes of the computer and the cell phone and the materials he used to dismember her on the way to the park in different dumpsters. So one of those bags must have made it, I don't know, when they were emptying the dumpster or something.
Or one of the raccoons pulled it out.
Or one of the raccoons pulled it out. Right, They're like, I could use a cell phone. And he pulls it out, I don't know.
There's some good chips in this bin.
So when he had left the machine shop, he had put Tara's body into several Rubbermaid, like rubber storage containers, those plastic storage bins. And when he got to the park, he used his kid's sled to put the totes on and then pull them into the park.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So, and then he removed the remains from the bins and hid them in the woods. So then 2 weeks later, police have this press conference saying that they're going to search the park. So he panics because he's like, God, I don't think I hid her torso well enough. So he drives back to the park, collects her torso, puts it back in the storage bin, and drives it back to the machine shop and stores it at the office of the machine shop. So he left the rest of the remains. It was just the torso that he was worried about. I don't know.
Psycho.
Right. But then he was like...
no one else ever go to the machine shop or what?
I don't know, right? I thought this was really weird.
Steven's back with another tote.
Right? But he did say that he kind of thought, oh my God, I got away with it, because he really thought that when they went to search the park, he was done for. But then when they didn't find anything, he was like, oh. But he realized, well, I can't just leave the torso at the machine shop. So a few days later,
might actually go to work there.
Right. He brings the bin with the torso home and puts it in the garage and planned to get rid of it the next day. Okay. But that was the night that the police came with the search warrant.
Oh, God.
So if he had left it at the shop or left it at the park and they never found it, like they might have never, it was it just happened to be that was the day that he was like, I better go get it from the machine shop, and brought it to the garage and just left it in the, he didn't even have it in the car. He left it in the,
where anybody could have come in and looked, his kids could have come in.
Right. Oh my God. Stephen Grant was arrested for first-degree murder and mutilation. He pled guilty to the mutilation charge, but went to trial for murder. Right? His defense being that it was not premeditated and therefore second-degree murder.
So he wanted passion.
But the prosecution pointed out that it takes 4 minutes to strangle somebody to death.
Yeah.
And so there was time for him to stop. He even talked about how, he was like, well, it's too late now. I guess I'll keep going. And covered her face. Right. The jury heard his taped confession explaining all this, and also how he dismembered her and hiding her remains with no remorse, And there was someone, oh God, I can't remember who was interviewed. I don't think it was one of the jury members. It was somebody else from law enforcement that was there at the trial that were like, oh yeah, and he's telling all this. And while he's talking about this, he's sprinkling in like regular, everyday, mundane things like, yeah, and then I watched the game that night. The so-and-so one. And then, I had a beer, and like, it was just part of his day. Like, it was just one of the chores. Yeah. I was like, wow. Like, you'd think there would be something to hint to you that this was this kind of human being, but apparently not. So anyways, the jury found him guilty of second-degree murder, and the judge sentenced him to a minimum of 50 years because he was like, yeah, I don't agree with the second-degree murder. So he was like, I'm giving you the max, right? 6 months later, Stephen's father took his own life because he could not cope with the fact that it was his business where his son did this horrific thing. He just couldn't.
The kid's already lost both parents. Oh, no.
Exactly. And now their grandfather. The Grant children actually were adopted by Tara's sister, and they take her last name.
Oh,
so they seem to be doing good. There is once a year they return to their hometown and they do like this walk for domestic abuse in her name. So they're aware of everything. It's just like, wow. There didn't seem to be a whole lot to clue anybody in that, it didn't seem like there was, it didn't seem like there was a lot of, domestic abuse, at least not enough that it's been reported that they found out about it or anything like that. So
it's almost like he snapped.
I just like, how does someone snap that far? Like, it's just, that was crazy. Right?
Oh.
Would you like to know my sources really quick?
Of course I would. Most exciting part of the show.
I know it is. It's the best part. The DetroitNews.com, Wikipedia, of course, and the show Crime Stories, season 7, episode 3, The Missing Mom. It was really good. And it has actual interviews with the detectives, people involved. So it was like,
that's a good one.
And you could tell they were like, yeah, he was like cold-blooded, man. Like, just
matter of fact, like,
Have you binge listened your way through your favorite true crime podcasts and need something new?
Do you love hearing about lesser known murders, scams, and disappearances, as well as new takes on infamous cases?
Do you like bad puns and a healthy dose of sarcasm?
If you answered yes to any of those questions, you should check out our podcast, Square Mile of Murder.
We're
Kat.
and Taylor, and every Wednesday we look at a new true crime case.
But we don't just tell you the same story you always hear. We love grabbing the lesser-known details, new revelations, and historical and cultural contexts for the cases we examine.
And since we take our name from Glasgow, Scotland's infamous Square Mile of Murder, every 10 episodes we cover a Scottish case.
Recently, we've been devoting a month of episodes to a new theme. So far, we've covered ancient serial killers, cults, spooky and ghostly crimes, with plenty more theme ideas in store.
We've got over 80 episodes for you to dig into right now, and can't wait to welcome you into the Square Mile family.
Just search Square Mile of Murder in your favourite podcast app, or check us out on the website at squaremileofmurder.com.
Ready for story 2.
I'm ready for story 2. I don't know about anybody else. I'd clap, but I don't know how to.
Yeah, you can do the little react.
Yay!
Did you hear it?
I did.
I couldn't hear it every time I tried to do it. Maybe.
Oh, you're kidding! You can't clap for your own stuff.
I guess I can't.
Let's see.
But
What else can we? What's this?
See, and I tried to react with that a few times too. Like, ah!
Could you hear it? Okay. Well, now that I'm not telling a story, I can totally react to your story. It's gonna be awesome.
I tried on yours. You're like, yes, I get all the buttons.
Mm.
I wonder what does the poop sound make?
I didn't hear any of them. Okay, let me try it.
Click here.
Awesome.
That's the best one. All right.
Awesome.
I'm ready for One Devotion Part 2.
I am ready for One Devotion Part 2. Hit me.
Okay, so yours was in Michigan.
Yes.
I chose a story out of Colorado since we seem to have our fair share out here, not unlike Florida.
Neither of us did Florida for a change. Hey!
I know. Though, like Florida has some kind of je ne sais quoi with their stories.
Right.
That most other places do not. So, But this is Colorado. So on Valentine's Day, since we're doing our Valentine thing, in 1993.
Ooh.
So big year for us.
Yeah. Okay.
So Cindy Trimbach of Stoneham, Colorado. I had no clue where this is. It's actually not that far from us when I looked at it on a map. But the reason I had no clue is because it's just a rural, unincorporated place with a post office and lots of land.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. So this Cindy, she puts in a call to the Weld County Sheriff's Department that her husband, Billy Trimbach, is missing. So another missing person.
Shocking.
Jenna, what is going on? Yeah. Both our stories. So Cindy said she hadn't seen Billy since the morning before, which was a Saturday. She claimed he had left with an unknown man to help him with a mechanical issue because he's a mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah. He's 26-year-old, hardworking, a mechanic, and he and Cindy had only been married for a year. In fact, Valentine's Day was their 1-year anniversary. So he goes missing the day before. Yeah.
Oh.
Not good. The couple had an infant daughter, and Cindy had a 9-year-old son from a previous marriage that lived with them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Cindy had contracted HIV from her previous husband, and by this point had already turned into full-blown AIDS.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So Billy, he cared for her so much, he worked extra shifts. He put in every dime he could into treatments for Cindy.
Oh my God.
They had even gone to Mexico trying experimental treatments that weren't available in the U.S. yet. He was trying everything he could for a miracle cure. But that Valentine's Day of 1993, Billy's body was found alongside a frontage road 45 miles from their home near Wiggins, Colorado.
Oh.
Name, right?
Wiggins. Wiggity, 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 Wiggins. Sorry, did I do that out loud? Whoops. That was supposed to just be in my head.
Crisscross in the house. All right. So investigators determined Billy had likely lain dead for a while at the side of the road and was killed in a different location before his body was dumped there from a vehicle and dragged to the side of the frontage road. Like there were probably drag marks or something. He had been shot in the head.
Sorry, that was my reaction. Oh my God. Oh, he'd been shot in the head? Oh my God.
Shot in the head with a 9mm handgun. So there were items found near the dump scene, which strangely matched items found in the Chevy Suburban belonging to the couple that was currently in Cindy's possession.
Oh.
Weird.
Hmm.
But I couldn't find any info as to what those items were or why they matched with the Suburban.
I hate when they don't give us that information.
I know. I need details, people. So investigators, of course, went to check out the Suburban and to speak with Cindy and her son. So when they speak to Cindy's son, he backs up what Cindy says. He said, yeah, Billy was here on Saturday. Some guy came to get him and they left and we haven't seen him since then. And Cindy was home the entire time with me.
Okay.
So when they search the Suburban, they find a small amount of dried blood in the back seat. And when tested, it came back as Billy's. So they're like, obviously he was in here injured at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't say, but I'm assuming the information they got was that Billy left in the stranger's car to help that person. But if he had taken the Suburban, how did it get back to their house? Or how did he get it? So I was like, that doesn't add up. It was also weird because Cindy said she had gone out driving around looking for Billy the evening he hadn't returned on February 13th. Oh. I'm not sure if it was a Suburban or a different car they had or anything.
Interesting.
But the weirdest part of that is that Cindy said she had driven on the exact road he was found on the next morning searching for him, but didn't see him. But the weirdest part of that is that road is about 45 miles away from where they live. And
she just randomly happened to go out there to look for him?
Right. To that particular road, which, I mean, there's tons of different off roads to different farms and stuff. Why would she happen to be going to that one? So it's either really a big weird coincidence that she happened to drive down that road.
Right.
She knows something.
Right.
I don't know. So because of the blood in the Suburban, investigators were pretty sure that Billy had been driven in the Suburban after he'd been killed, or that items with his blood had been in there and had transferred into the back of the Suburban. So
either way, it's not looking so hot.
Either way, Cindy shouldn't have, there's no way she couldn't have had something to do with it. There's no way you don't have control over this and not know something. During their talk with her, they found out that Billy had a 9mm gun that was now missing.
Convenient.
That's also convenient. And another weird coincidence was that the sheriff on the case had actually driven past the area that Billy's body was found the night before the body was found. And he had seen multiple cars pulled off to the side of the road on that location. But I don't know if he had passed by. So it's a frontage road. So it's near an interstate. Okay. I'm wondering if he was maybe on the interstate passing by and noticed it and was like, well, I'd have to go down to this.
Right. Okay. Because I was like, why wouldn't he stop? But yeah, if he was actually on the interstate. Yeah. Okay. Right.
And just noticed, there's a bunch of cars. Maybe on my way back, I'll see if there's still need help or something.
And there was more than one car.
More than one. Multiple cars. So he actually might have been seeing them dump the body, not realizing it.
Oh my God. I'm sure if they saw him go by, they were shitting their pants. Let me just tell you. They were.
Yeah, no doubt. Is he going to turn back around and come back? I don't know. Cindy was quickly becoming a suspect for obvious reasons.
Shocker.
Shock.
Did she do any, hold any of her own press conferences while she was at it, or?
Not that I saw. She might have actually been a little smart. Maybe she didn't want the attention.
Right.
So, but also it sounds like she might have been a meth user, so not so great. Yeah. Which, if you're trying to get better from AIDS, don't think
that's not doing it. You're not doing yourself any favors there. That's not.
No. Maybe try vegetables.
That's Kelly. If you take nothing else away from this episode, don't do meth. Eat your vegetables.
Eat your vegetables. I mean, a mom's got a mom,
Right. And if you're having a craving, if you're addicted and your body just, go suck on a potato, maybe that'll help.
You'll be better by the morning. You don't need none of that myth. Get yourself a potato. All right. So since she's also a suspect, they figured out that she had also taken out a life insurance policy
Of course
on
she
Billy
did.
shortly before the murder. She did. And it wasn't a small policy either. It was for $500,000. $500K.
Can you just pick any amount you want? How do you...
Remember the airplane episode, and you could get them from a vending machine back in the day?
How can I forget? Do you have exact change? I need exact change. I'd like to get a life insurance policy before we get on this plane.
Life insurance. I see a good one in there. It's like playing the lottery.
Right? I'm going to get some M&Ms for the flight, a Gatorade, and some life insurance.
God. So, she got that $500,000 life insurance. And what's more, Billy's signature had been forged on it.
Come on.
She's not doing such a good job hiding her thing she's doing. So they begin to think Cindy's likely put a hit out for Billy since her son corroborated and gave her an alibi.
Oh, and she was right. Yeah, you don't want to trust a 9-year-old to lie for you.
No, right.
It's not a good idea.
But not having enough evidence to link Cindy to Billy's killing, she wasn't arrested immediately. And within a month, she moved to Butte, Montana with the kids. So you know Butte. I know Butte.
Do. My brother-in-law is from there. Oh.
Right. So they moved up there. And that was still 93, 94 time. So.
To ask him about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, it's from what I understand, it's not a very big town, so.
No, it's not. And this ends up being kind of a big deal. So. Strangely, when enrolling him in school in Montana, Cindy tells people that her son had seen his father murdered. I don't know if she's...
Why would you tell people that?
I know! And I don't know if she's looking for sympathy, like, oh, please take care of him. He's been through so much.
If it's true or a lie, why would anybody say that?
I know. So now it's 94, and Cindy's son, Jason, is 10. After a local newspaper in Butte published an article on the killing of Billy and mentioned Cindy as a suspect, like you said, small town, Jason starts getting bullied at school. Like, bullied, bad.
Shit.
And he's already struggling. He's new at the school, and somehow it had also gotten out that his biological father and his mother both suffered from AIDS.
Oh my God. Oh, he just has 8 targets on his back all at once. Oh my God.
This poor kid. So many kids refused to be even close to him because they thought they could catch it. I mean, it was during the time, it was still a lot of misinformation going on around it. And Montana, when I lived there, was pretty conservative, and it was... Well,
that's right around, I think, when the movie Philadelphia came out with Tom Hanks.
Yes, Tom Hanks.
I remember seeing that in high school, and that would have been...
Yeah, right around that time.
Yeah. And a lot of people thought that it was contagious.
That you could even get it from spit or something.
Right.
And so the bullying just kept getting worse and worse. So one day Jason went to his elementary school in Butte, pulled out a gun on the playground, and opened fire.
No.
Yeah, so he ends up killing another boy named Jeremy Bullock, who was 11 years old. I know. Makes me sick.
Oh my God.
I mean, I feel bad for them all. And after that point, Jason is placed in a psychiatric facility because he's only 10,
Oh my God, he's only 10.
He's only 10.
Holy crap.
So Cindy dies of AIDS later that same year. I mean, I don't know. But they're still trying to find answers, and investigators travel to Butte and they interview Jason once again. At this point, he's like, yeah, I did lie. I didn't see Billy leave with another man that Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing what my mom told me to do.
Oh my God.
He said he lied because he also believed that his mom was involved in stepfather's death, so he didn't want to have her, get in trouble. I know, this poor kid. So in 1997, investigators got a tip. So it's quite a few years later at this time. So investigators get a tip from a local man in Colorado that he had information about the case. and they were told about two people who were directly involved in shooting Billy. He told them that the suspects had planned to dump Billy's body in Jackson Lake, but maybe in a karmic way, the vehicle carrying his body had mechanical issues. Remember how Billy was a mechanic?
Oh,
so
the irony.
Yes, darn. So during the drive, their car broke down, and they had to dump the body off the frontage road instead. So that would explain why another car was there. Like, they probably had to call
the
somebody,
panic. The panic you feel when your car breaks down and you have a body in the back. Oh my God.
Yeah. And whoops, that was my mechanic. So who would I call now?
And now I don't even have anyone to call. I can't even. Do you have the name of a good mechanic? I did.
I did, but oops.
Oh my God. Seriously?
So that would explain why another car had to come and help. Like, probably had to call a friend and be like, dude, pick me up. We got to drive my car out of here or whatever. But, so when getting interviews from people, they heard differing stories about the fate of the gun used to kill Billy. In one story, it was dismantled and thrown out of a vehicle in different locations.
Okay.
And in the other story, this gun was buried in a house in Fort Morgan, Colorado, which is near Wiggins as well. But yeah.
Okay.
So they're not sure who to believe there. And several people began to give the police the name of James, who went by Sam. I don't know if his middle name was Samuel or something. I know.
Not a nickname for James. That's not how that works.
Jim, but
right.
Go with Sam.
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Sam doesn't even.
Yeah.
No.
No, but I'm wondering if maybe it was middle name. I don't know.
Okay.
His last name was England.
Yeah, so that doesn't help either.
No.
Okay.
England. So he was named as being involved in the shooting by a bunch of different people. And England was known for being an intimidating figure, and many didn't want to talk until he was behind bars. They were so scared of this guy.
Wow.
Yeah. He had been arrested many times for assault, burglary, theft, and multiple weapons offenses. And in 1998, England got spooked when a 9 News report aired that the sheriff's office was still looking for info on Billy's murder. He's like, yeah, I thought that was all going to be pinned on Cindy, who's now dead.
Oh, shit.
So England began trying to intimidate witnesses that had come forward, telling them to keep quiet and that he'd rather die in a shootout than go back to prison.
Oh, boy.
So,
yikes.
He ends up snapping. He goes and burglarizes a home near Wiggins, Colorado. He steals 2 shotguns before going on the run. I know.
How is this helping anything?
I'm pointing at me more.
Right?
Hi, I'm here. I'm having problems. Come find me.
Right. Why don't I just ask them to chase me?
Sam gets in a hit-and-run accident.
Sorry, he just doesn't have the best luck when it comes to cars. And that's funny, because he killed a mechanic.
Yeah, see, it all comes back. Karma, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Ish. Yeah, so police are able to catch up with him in his Chevy Blazer. Never run in a Blazer.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave them a fake name and told them he needed to go to the hospital because
Did they say? Did he give him a fake name, or was his name just Jim? And they said he said it was Sam.
Maybe that's why it came back as Sam. They're like James, Sam, whatever. At the hospital, they take him to the hospital.
Okay.
And at the hospital, he walked away and disappeared. So
again, 2 stories in a row where the suspect just gets up and walks away.
Yeah, they're like, well, I guess I couldn't find him in our system because he gave him a fake name. So, oh, you're good. You did a hit and run,
right.
But you're,
right.
Well. So after a month on the run, though, police find him living under another
He made it a month?
A month. He made it a month, but stupidly, he didn't leave the area. He was in Greeley, Colorado, which is right near all that.
Shit, I was going to say, he could be anywhere after a month or in the next town.
Yeah, or
just in the next town.
He didn't go anywhere. Dude. So, fearing he's going to be pinned by himself for the murder, Sam England ended up committing suicide.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
This is a disaster.
In this case, totally. So because of that, this case is still considered unsolved and open.
Really?
because they could never get...
Because the two people that they are 99% sure both died.
Yeah. And I don't know, I guess you can't posthumously declare. You would think you could, like, yeah, that person definitely did it. Case solved, boom, boom. But
I guess without anything solid, or wow.
I know.
Oh my God.
So people, if they do have any information, if this gets to any of those people, since it's near here, they can call Northern Colorado Crime Stoppers at 800-222-8477. But I know I read little Jason, who had been the shooter, he completely turned around his life, and I think he went to college, and he's still living in Montana, and totally regretted what he did. But
oh wow,
he had a child's brain, and he hadn't meant to. He said he hadn't actually meant to shoot anybody. He was just trying to scare them, but he pulled the trigger. And,
oh well, good for him for turning his life around. Wow,
life around. Yeah,
he had quite a rough start.
Everything against him. Yeah, it was rough. So, did you want to hear my sources?
Yes.
Always.
It's like my favorite part.
Right? Who doesn't want to hear all the sources? So CBS for Denver, 9news.com, FortMorganTimes.com, and a Reddit post by After Honeymoon.
Oh,
their name. And the Toronto Sun, strangely enough. Yeah. So for a long time, Jason was the youngest school shooter, but
oh my gosh,
he got
sadly he's
one up by a 6-year-old later.
Oh,
scary. I know. So sad. This is why people need to lock their shit up. Just saying.
Yeah, lock your shit up.
Lock it up. Yeah.
Lock it up.
But yeah, that's the story of little Cindy, and I don't know why she so badly wanted that $500K to kill her husband, who was trying to keep her alive when she was going to die so soon anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't have any kind of motive.
I'm wondering if she only married him to put a life insurance policy on him.
I'd like to say she did it so that she was setting up her... Well, didn't they also have a baby?
They did. They had a baby. And I didn't hear anything about the baby.
Yeah, well, maybe to set up her 2 kids?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
That could be.
Maybe.
Which would have been nicer. But
all right.
We're ending the show, apparently. Sounds like it's a boxing movie. All right.
Hey Oddies, thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM. If you're a longtime listener, hey, we cannot thank you enough for your continued support. And if you're a new listener, thanks for giving us a try. If you like us, please drop us a like, subscribe, or rate us so we can share our stories with more people around the world. And if you'd like more information, like links to our podcast and socials, along with our Patreon fan page, those links are all on the link tree under ODFM podcast. That's linktr.ee/ODFM podcast. Side note, you guys, we're obsessed with fan art, and we love making things with it, like stickers for our fans. So if you'd like us to use your designs, send it to us at odfmpodcast@gmail.com, and if we use your design, we'll be sure to send you a sticker.
Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM, hosted by Kelly DeVries and Jenna Swanson. Production and editing by Kelly DeVries. Theme music by Eric Swanson. ODFM is a satirical true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only. The stories you hear are serious and true. The comments and opinions are not. We apologize if any of our content is harmful or disrespectful.